All beings love their life. All beings want to be happy. Every life form is precious. They want to enjoy, to procreate, to simply live and find happiness. For humans, clothing, food, and shelter. But even the small creatures, they simply want to live their life, to have their families, and to find happiness. Each and every one is a part of a vast whole. Each and every living being is a small expression in the mind of the infinite, a thought in the cosmic dance of creation. Each and every one is from eternal being. The nature of all that is eternal being. There is a relative truth to this mundane world, but there is a deeper truth that all beings are part of one eternal whole, one infinite self, one divine essence. And within your essence, within the essence of all beings, is this longing, this desire to be near to the infinite, to return to the home from which you have come, to return to eternal being. This takes many forms in the confusion of the mind and in the bodies of created living beings. But all are composed in essence of eternal being. And so there is a longing, a desire to return to that infinite peace, to that deep, undying love. And that longing is the motivation of life to go forward. But due to circumstances, the mind gets confused. It takes the unreal for the real, that which is temporal and leads to death for the eternal, and searches for happiness in many ways, unproductive ways. There is the natural way of life, the balance of the systems, and in that there is a certain level of violence. The cat kills the mouse. The lion kills the deer. But they do not kill randomly. They kill because they desire food to sustain them and their loved ones. But in nature there is violence and there is love. There is the mother and the fawn, the cub, the kitten, the baby. Human beings have the great opportunity because of a more reflective and developed mind. The adaptation of human is to develop mental capacity. Out of this capacity comes the ability of choice that is far greater than the choices of those beings not as evolved. And so, with a greater mental capacity, choices are made. And if you look at human history, there is a great deal of violence, the expressions of hostility and anger, one group against another, one group trying to dominate another in order to gain territory, in order to gain control, in order to be supporting the welfare of their group. And so human history is a history of conflicts, wars, winners and losers, and a great deal of cruelty. and suffering. Human beings have not evolved to where they can, as a collective race, see their unity with all life, feel the connection to all beings. There are those who make great effort to minimize harm. But in general, the society writes its history books of the violent wars and conflicts and struggles for power and control. This is a time of turbulence in the world, driven by natural changes in the planet itself. The natural forces are shifting. And so, due to this, the secure societal structures that have been built and the ways of success are proving unstable. And this brings fear to living beings. That fear drives protectionism, drives groupism. My group, my family, my party, my country, my identity, apart from you. And so there is self and your group and other. And out of this psychology arises so much conflict, war, attempts of dominance of one over the other in order to have security and prosperity. This unfortunate drive in human beings has caused much pain throughout history, much anguish, much sorrow, not only among human beings, but among all of the other living beings who are exploited by human beings. Cruelty and exploitation are not new to human society. But when the society has regulated nicely and is running smoothly, and suddenly these situations crop up, and there is blatant cruelty, blatant lying, blatant aggression, then it is a shock to the people. The people react, they rise up. The government tries harder to oppress the people, as has happened in so many countries. So it happens in the United States. The voice of the people becomes unheard. The power of the government takes dominance. But when people find themselves in this type of situation, when they gather together, find the love they share, taking care of each other, something powerful happens. People begin to realize they are connected. There is a unity, a love that permeates the society, whatever your race, whatever your denomination of religion, whatever your cultural background. There is a unity that brings all together. A unity that not only brings human beings together, but other living beings. And that unity revolves around love and the essence of care, knowing that you are not an isolated entity, but part of an interwoven, connected system, that you are connected with other living beings. This sense of connection brings joy, even in the most difficult times. And the struggle that there's there is between the forces of hatred, anger, cruelty, and the psychology that breeds the fear that puts these behaviors out, and the psychology of love, connectedness, care for your neighbor. The psychology of care brings happiness. The psychology of fear and anger brings more pain, more suffering. To try to dominate others, to make them afraid, to make them angry, to harm them, so that you may dominate does not really bring happiness. But to join with others in care for your neighbors, for your community, it brings a sense of belonging, a sense of being part of something that has love in its essence, has care in its essence. You feel cared for, you feel you are caring. This bringing people together is waking them up to a new dimension of consciousness, where love divine is embodied in care, sacrifice, and protection of one's friends, family, neighbors, community, country, the world. This brotherhood of man, sisterhood of man, of living beings, this is the true source of vitality. Because when your heart goes out with love and compassion, and your actions follow, you live in love. And when you live in love, you live close to Parama Purusha. That one becomes your guiding force. And as you let your heart expand, that expansion leads you to love unconditional. It leads you to your Dharma. It leads you towards your beloved of your heart, towards divine essence. For the nature of that divine essence is unconditioned love, great peace. All are the children of the great. All are loved unconditionally and cared for. The perpetrators of harm and cruelty are themselves children of the great, but they are misguided in their actions and in their thoughts, and so they end up doing harm to other living beings and not feeling connected to Dharma, not feeling connected to divine essence, for their lives are not in alignment with that. Their cruelty bespeaks their ideology. And if you join in actions of cruelty and harm, you join this. Though there are times to protect others, to love others, to care for living beings, that actions that may seem violent are required. But it cannot be for hatred. It must always be for love, for the greater good of living beings. All are the children of the great, both those who embody the love and community, and those that embody the anger, the rage, and the cruelty. Those are the most wounded. They don't realize the pain that is driving them. And it can become a culture, and the people become afraid not to be mean to their quote-unquote enemies. These times when the world begins to have great turmoil become times to test you, to reflect upon your own divinity and the divinity of all beings, to see, do you stand for the welfare of all living beings? Do you stand for the protection and love of all living beings in your thoughts, in your words, and in your deeds? Anger naturally arises when you see injustice and harm done to innocent people. It brings out anger. It's a natural human response. That is not the point. But if you then act on that anger, and out of anger and hatred do harm to another, you have lost Dharma. If you remain in that love, if you see the pain and suffering of others who are enacting harm, and if you, with compassion, stop that harm, the action may appear the same on the outside, but it is entirely different. And probably the action will be a little different itself. Don't let your spirit be harmed. Don't give up your hope, your joy, your love, and your inspiration. Light is always stronger than dark. Love is ever stronger than hate. Change is inevitable. But even in the darkest of times, keep hope. Look on the bright side. Find the light in the darkness. Stay in great compassion and love for all living beings. And if your heart is broken by cruelty and actions you see, surrender that. Let that love go out and grow and grow. The love and compassion, let it grow. Don't run from it. Don't let it turn you bitter. Keep your hope. Human life is precious. The life of every living being is precious. And the light of truth, love, and the infinite, the ways of Parama Purusha, will naturally shine. And the more people see the duress, the more duress they are under, the more darkness they see, the more they find their own light. Find your own light in the darkness. Let that light shine. Find your hope in the hopelessness. Find the love between people that is something great, something waking people out of their slumber. A bright new time in the world is arising, but this type of shift is not without harrowing times. Don't be discouraged. Keep the bright light of Parama Purusha as your pole star, and the love of your community, of the people for each other. Keep that bright in your mind, and let yourself open to that love, and find ways in which you can yourself contribute. Be it very small or very large, it doesn't matter. But that it comes from the grace of the infinite and the love of your heart. That is what is important. That you align yourself with Param Brahma and you allow the divine flow to be with you. You harmonize with it. You harmonize with that love. Harmonize with that great compassion. And if you feel some pain in your heart for living beings, don't run away from it. Melt into it and let your love grow wider and wider and wider. Not your hatred, but your love. You are not helpless. You are not a victim. And the light cannot be subdued by darkness. Love and the ways of truth and Dharma will always prevail in the end. A new dawn rises, a new time, but this transition is tumultuous. Join hands with all beings and move into the light yourself, all right?